He says here, dear Mooji, how come or why do we all forget our true nature or identity? How come or why do we all forget our true identity? Why do we build a false self? Much love, Marianne from Amsterdam. Why do we all forget our true identity? If you don't forget your true identity, life cannot be as it has been experienced now. And somehow we want to experience it like it is now, somehow. Why do we forget? Because, well, I'll come to why we forget, but the technical part of it, the mechanical part of it, technical part of it is that we, the self, identify with the body, which is the instrument through which the consciousness can manifest itself in form, and then subsequently to enjoy experiencing the sense of diversity or the sense of otherness. That's the sort of more technical aspect of it. Why it happens, though, is another question. Why it happened, nobody can give a conclusive thing. I can only say, well, if it did not happen like this, then there would not be anything called enlightenment. There would not be anything called, feeling lost and transcendence and self-discovery. All of that would not be possible. There would be no Buddhas, there would be no Christs, there would be no prophets, there would be no sages, no Muhammads, there would be no Krishnas, there's no Shivas particularly to speak about. Because they represent a transcendence over the egoic or conditioned consciousness as it rediscovers its original self, and serve as some enlightening beacon or something, so that those who long for this unity of being, having spent so much time being buffeted or being, or suffering delusions, these beings, the Christs and the Shivas of the world, point that it is possible for a human being to transcend this kind of ignorance that leads to suffering and to come back to their original nature. But why does it happen? As I said, for me, it seems if it didn't happen, they could not be experiencing and the sense of otherness. And you may ask, then what's the big deal about that? What's the big deal about otherness and the sense of separation and aspiration and growth and study and memory and auspicious? What's the point of all of that? And I would say that I don't trust you, because if these were removed, you'll be begging back for them until you have the natural maturity to overcome them naturally. Because very often we complain about life because we complain from some kind of emotional state. When you're feeling a bit low and a bit frustrated, and I never want to do this, I'm going to do this, and we speak as though we have a power we don't actually have in actuality, that this power comes only through maturity and not through determination, certainly not through arrogance. Why do we build a false self? It's the same question, actually. Not deliberately. Why you build a false self? Because we are not yet aware of a true self, and the idea that we are the body is already the earliest creation of false self. Who decided to do that? The impulse of consciousness that wants to express itself and experience itself as diversity compels its components as beingness and the forms, the instrument, the form, to manifest this play. And then when it's done that and it believes in the body, believes in the identity, then it becomes somehow merged with this identity, as it were. Not actually, because it cannot actually do it, but it can only do it through the dreaming consciousness, through Maya. Then once it has formed this attachment to the body, the subsequent sense of unavoidable sense of insecurity and vulnerability comes, so it wants to protect that. So it tightens the grip of identity. And then it becomes afraid of loosening its grip. The whole thing is just a